Well, that was fun. Thank you. Oh, your feathers were bouncing. It's a good thing. You know, it's pure joy when God is so synchronistic. When I chose the reading of Holy, Holy, and they played Holy, Holy, Holy. Oh my God, that's a God thing. Yeah, I love synchronicity like that, and it just makes, being on the spiritual journey just so much fun when we see those beautiful moments unfold. So I'm excited to share with you some words and about compassion and connection. And some of the things I share with you, you might squirm a little bit in your heart, but I invite you to squirm. I invite you to open up your heart and to allow yourself to dwell in that space. The closer you can connect to your heart through this message today allows you to open to the one, open to that holy, holy, holy space that Ernest Holmes so beautifully gave tribute to. And in the end, I will be leaving you with a practice to invite you into using this practice as a way and a means to transform suffering in our world. It's what we want to do on a spiritual journey. There's a part of our journey that's all about us, all about me, and when we find and dwell in that place long enough, we have a clarity of heart and a clarity of intention that we're ready to serve the world. And I know each and every one of you has that divine purpose, or you wouldn't be here. And this day is a special day for me. It's the International Day of Peace. Jeremy, this gentleman, started this journey in the 1990s, late 1990s, by being steadfast and going to the United Nations and saying, I want to have this day dedicated to ceasefire and to a day of nonviolence. And today, more than ever, this practice has unfolded and grown around the world. He has populated many places, many musical movements, many communications with the Taliban and to some of the scary people in our world that we shudder to know what they're doing to others. But he's willing to bring his words of peace and nonviolence for a day to put down the weapons. And so tonight, a team has joined me. I'm so grateful for Chris and Diana. They're going to play some most heart-touching songs to open your heart. And Michael will be there to help me with the sound, and I'm going to show a quick video about this. Reverend Lynn will be sharing the moment of sharing her wisdom on peace. And then we will do, with Lori Barnes reading as eloquently, she names all the nations, and we do a May Peace Prevail prayer. You are part of that consciousness. If you cannot join us, the one question on this year's journey is, who can I make peace with? So when you walk out of this sanctuary today, throughout this week, allow that question to percolate through your heart. Who can you make peace with? Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's an addiction you have. Maybe it's another person. But allow the question to stay long enough in your heart until the scriptures that are embedded in your heart, the spiritual wisdom, reflect back to you that truth of what you need to know. So that's tonight, and the drumming starts at 5:45 sharp. I don't want to mess with Lynn. 45 sharp. Well, she told me that. I have to be out there at, sometime right in there to do a prayer. So I'm all nervous about that. Then it's mine again. So this, what I wanted to share with you are a lot of ideas on compassion. And the most amazing thing about that, we are born with empathy and compassion. We have this innate longing inside of ourselves and in all of nature to reach out and to end suffering. There's a Protestant Reverend, David Parks Ramage, that says this: transformative practices, some of the things that I'll be sharing with you throughout this message, helps us to begin to tell the story of our life as we grow more intimate with things as they are, as we grow more intimate with things as they are. We begin to notice the glory of God in each one. Meditation just makes it easier to remember what God, yourself, and all of life are about. Love the Lord, your God, your heart, mind, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. It's all right there. It's right there in that scripture, and there's nothing else really. That's why we're here. That's why we do this practice. Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, whatever. That's why people gather, to worship and to practice. The abundant life wants to be known. It is the way we need to live together, to weave a tapestry of life that allows the universe to express itself. There's a piece in Avatar that acknowledges the shift to realizing that you're the one who can deliberately create your life. But then you look around and you see the suffering in the world at large. And if you don't have a way to help alleviate that suffering, it is so painful that you can potentially just shut back down. When people have a way to alleviate that suffering, they keep opening up and they're willing to become more aware. That's your invitation. Open up and become more aware. When you are in that space, one of the main things that happens, at some point people think, enough about me. Enough about my life and all my stories, all my drama, all my whatever. It's old news. You may wonder what else is there. To me, what else is there is being of service and the joy that people get from that interaction. What a call to serve our planet, to serve humanity, to serve one another. In my first talk, I mentioned passages of leaning into the suffering. Lean into it. Suffering makes us want to go, oh my gosh, I want to close down and not look. But the invitation is for you to open up, to wake up, and to be a deep part of that. Some of you are familiar with Swami Muktananda, and he says, whenever people ask him what the heart of his teaching would be, he would say, meditate on yourself, honor yourself, worship yourself. God dwells within you as you. Does that sound familiar? That's from Eastern teaching, and you can see where Ernest Holmes captured some of the jewels of our teaching. He said that's really the crux of the path, teaching us what we should meditate upon. Unless I know myself, all of myself, unless I worship myself and see God within me, there is no point in going anywhere, because what I have here within me is what I'm going to see in everyone else. If I am able to honor, respect, and worship myself, I will see the divine here and everywhere, because wherever I go, I go. So I carry that experience of a contentment with me, in my mind, in my being. That's what I'm going to see, and that's what I'm going to experience, and that is what I'm going to give to everybody. I'm leaving you today with a message that I am so powerfully invested in, and I know each and every one of you are. It is for you, from this moment forward, to look deeply into the haunting images of pain and suffering. To look at the images that we see right now portrayed in the football teams with the violence, with the punching of each other. I mean, I know football, when they're out there playing, they can't be going, oh, excuse me, no, please go by. They can't be doing that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a place there for them to get, their equipment on and to be big bullies to each other. I love football, as you can tell. But that's the place for it, you see? And I have compassion for their post-traumatic stress, reactiveness. You must see more clearly, you must see more deeply into why they do what they do. And to stand and to love and to honor and to hold them, to help them understand no more violence, no more hurting children, wives, spouses, friends. It's so, we look out into all of the terrorism in our world, but it's so much right here in our own country as well, and with our own thoughts to ourselves. We inflict that same dialogue to ourselves. Gosh, I get sick of it. It just, for my own self personally, that self-critic, those tapes, they're ready to wind up and replay themselves. But Do you know what I have to do? I have to sit with it. You see, we have to sit with the suffering. We have to name it. We have to feel it. We have to move through it. Because if we simply block it and let it stay and turn away, it becomes a solid fixture in our life experience. All the wise teachings, every spiritual practice is asking you to go deeper, to lean into it, to find a way to transform this suffering. What I find particularly entertaining in my preparing for this talk was how many animal stories I came across. How many animal stories? And you might think, well, we're talking about humanity, and animals are a part of that humanity. One of the YouTube videos that I saw last night was a dog trying to put water with his nose onto the fish catch of the day. The fish were laying there in just little shallow pools of water, and he was desperately going to each one with as much water as he could find and trying to toss it with his nose onto them. Where does that come from? My heart, I watched that several times, and my heart just burst open at what was in the consciousness. There is only one mind, one love, one God, one truth. We are that. We are the ones that can find the last drop of water and feed it to someone who is thirsty. We do the same thing. Nancy Bernard shared a story as I was walking in that she saw a video clip of a horse that was eating straw coming out of a wall. On the other side of that wall was a horse stuffing the straw through the wall. What? I know. There is those awe. The awe is the sound of the heart. Our heart spills open with those stories, with those testimonies. We are that. We are that. We are the ones. And I know Reverend Barbara's done this work so beautifully around the world. She gets great tribute from the organization for how powerful her work is to take this teaching of greater understanding and greater revelation of who this self is out into our world. Each one of us are ambassadors and the spiritual warriors of this truth, and it's an exciting journey to be on. It begins, though, when we study the deep self within our own heart. When we listen to the beautiful poem of Holy, 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 when we hear that song of Holy, 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 and we recognize within us is this depth, this touchstone, this grace, this love, this potency that is longing to vibrate and to be expressed out into our world. And it starts with empathy and sympathy and compassion to all that there is. There is this interbeingness. Thich Nhat Hanh is so beautifully writes passages and passages in his writings. His work to the world is asking each and every one of us to recognize this interbeingness. He shares a story that shows up in the journal that we're using for our weekly messages to you. And this is one of the stories that I wanted to share with you. It's a Thich Nhat Hanh story. A young widower who loved his 5-year-old son very much was away on business, and bandits came and burned down his whole village and took his son away. When the man returned, he saw the ruins and panicked. He took the charred corpse of a child to be his son, and he began to pull his hair and beat his chest uncontrollably, as you can only imagine. He organized a cremation ceremony, collected the ashes, and put them in a beautiful velvet bag. Working, sleeping, eating, he always carried this bag of ashes with him. He was locked in to his suffering. But one day his real son escaped from the robbers, found his way home, and arrived at his father's new cottage at midnight and knocked on the door. The young father asked, "Who's there?" And the child answered, "It's me, Papa, open the door. It's your son." In his agitated state of mind, the father thought that some mischievous boy was making fun of him. He shouted back to the child to just go away, and he started crying. And the boy knocked and knocked again and again, but the father refused to let him in. Some time passed, and finally the child left. From that time on, father and son never saw one another again. Now that's not one of those, you wish I had a different ending, didn't you? You know, where's chapter 2? He opened the door. No, he never opened the door. He never opened the door. And can you see there's times in your experience when you've been suffering, and God's grace, God's wisdom is knocking on the heart of your door to open. And you say, no more. I'm so locked in my pain, and I only know this pain, and I can see no more. This is when you must allow others to give to you, to let others allow that independent interbeingness share with you and to relieve this suffering. You want to see, as he's expressed in this story, hands incarnated in a friend and a loved one reaching out to you. It might not be fixed. The situations that you might find yourself facing might never be fixed. They might never have a happy ending. But you have God's arms wrapping around you, reaching out to you, longing to pull you through. For yourself, for your friends, for the world, for a stranger. It goes on and on. This whole idea, Thomas Merton shares the whole idea of compassion is based on the keen awareness of the interdependence of all these living beings, which are all a part of one another and all involved in one another. Black Elk states, and while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw, for I was seeing in a sacred manner the shapes of things in spirit, and the shape of all things as they must live together like one being. And Joel Goldsmith, I was reading Practicing the Presence. I did my assignment. I'm helping with the practitioner course, and I can always recognize why Diana Johnson is so passionate about the teaching of this man. But when we look, I want to share this affirmation with you, and it's one of the practices that you can do is to choose in those moments of your own personal suffering, find a mantra, find a passage that you can allow to sing through the doors of your heart, that you can inscript on the walls of your heart, and let yourself turn to it again and again. And please know, every time that tape goes through your head of the critic of, oh, I did wrong again. Oh, I'm doing the same stupid thing again. Oh, I'm not making any sense up here. Oh, I think they're about to fall asleep. See, all of that goes up. It's happening. You know, you place your hands over your heart. There's the connection there to the heart. There's the connection to the belly to soften the anxiety. There's even the sweet way of just resting your head in your own hands. And when I was looking at the information on those 3 body movements, I was thinking of the Enneagram of the head, the heart, the gut. There are ways personalities react. Some of us react from gut, some from the head, some totally from the heart. And here are these body positions that bring us back to a centeredness in who we are, to send out the not oxycodone. Yeah. What's that? Sandy, what is that word I'm trying to say? Oxytocin. Yes, thank you. Ooh, what's in my drug cupboard? Yeah, pop a pill and then feel really good. But this idea of these body movements and this opportunity to draw from the head, to let the tape just play itself out, to sit with the emotion. What is it trying to tell me? What is the core seed of my suffering? And what must I reveal? And Joel Goldsmith, this is a beautiful one. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, and that Spirit is peace and joy to me and to all those who come within my range of my consciousness. Wow. What a beautiful way when we're in a grumpy, bad, nasty mood and we have to go into public and you think, I'm just not there, I'm just not centered. But within me, I know is that holy, holy space that Ernest Holmes speaks to, that all teachers speak to, and the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, and that Spirit is peace and joy to me and to all those who come within the range of my consciousness, because my consciousness is one with all consciousness. We are not separate. That is the greatest truth of this teaching of all faith paths. The core of the truth is that we're all one. and we all dwell within this beautiful love. Ernest Holmes says, each one of us must be filled with the spirit of divine compassion. Each one of us, we must. It's innate. It is who we are. It is what allows every heartbeat to follow the next. He goes on to say, we must have a deep, underlying sense of unity and sympathy, else he will do but little good. But not sympathy for the disease. The only guarantee of our divinity is in its expression through our humanity. Consequently, an enlightened soul understands the meaning of sympathy and exercises it, but not morbidly. So we don't turn to the suffering and see it locked in there. We're the one knocking on the door to allow it to open for another. So you want to really recognize the sweetness of that. There was a Pema Chodron story in some of the reading that I did that there was a prisoner that was on death row. And he was out on a rainy day, just out in the grounds, just staring, and a seagull came down and was just kind of playing around. Another prisoner came out and wanted to stone it. And he went up to him and said, no, don't. Don't hurt it. And then they had interaction and conflict. The tension was building between these two individuals. And he's going, no, don't. You don't understand. Because this man, again, he's on death row. He says, please don't hurt the bird. He represents the wings of my freedom. So he could see that though he was on death row, he recognized his connection to another being, the inner beingness, as his flight of freedom. Please don't harm that. These beautiful stories in all traditions, in all the Buddhist tales, the Christian tales, they keep pointing us back to remember these heart-space stories that stretch us wide open. So we want to continue to recognize we are that. There was a couple of other stories in the One Mind that talked, and I shared this one at the 9 o'clock, so just briefly about the rats put into a maze of tubes. One rat, was stuck and trapped here, and the other one was free to go into the chocolate chip pile. But he chose to first let his other fellow rat out. So he would work fervently to get that door gate open, and then the two of them would enjoy the chocolate chips together. That's one of the stories. And they even tried putting a phony rat in the tube. And then he didn't care, but he recognized that's a phony. I can go eat my chips. Interesting, isn't it? That's animal consciousness behavior. We're one with all. There was the other, I'm talking about monkey and rats here. The other one was a study done by the neuron of mirroring, how we learn our behavior. You see little infants and babies smile when we smile at them. They're mirroring. They're working on these neurons that mirror back. So this monkey experiment that they did had to do with, they had all these electrodes on, and they would actually show in the brain the imprints of these monkeys cracking open a peanut and what it was like to go into the mouth and to chew and crunch on that peanut. Again and again and again, this mirroring neuron would kind of watch this. Well, the scientist was getting hungry, and he just let the electrode stay on the monkey, went out and got something to eat, was in a rush, came back, and was eating his ice cream cone while he was finishing this test. And a whole while, that monkey's just watching, cracking the nuts, eating them, but watching. When they looked at the imprint of that, it was the imprint of the ice cream cone. We see things and we create mirror images within us. That's empathy and sympathy. Do you feel that? Now, I could tell you right now to go suck a lemon and you would all go, oh, yeah. How many of you cringe when you see when they're doing the flu shots on TV and they're watching the needle go in the arm? We all go, oh, there, but by the grace of God, go I. We feel, there is this connection in humanity of this mirror neuron. That's what they've been able to label as. So you see, in our world of suffering, in this world, our opportunity is to not turn away from any ideas of pain or suffering. Remember, we cannot fix everything, but we can bring our heart and our love into a greater understanding, and we can stretch that understanding and embrace people into a greater healing. So the idea, the practice that I want to leave you with is the Tonglen practice, which we have done before, but you can say, oh, I've done that once. You know, this can be a daily practice. The Tonglen practice is a breathing practice. It is the breath of compassion. It is the willingness to lean into the suffering, whatever that is for you, to breathe it into your heart space, and to breathe out a greater understanding. And that greater understanding is what you're leaving in consciousness. It's beautiful, isn't it? To breathe, that's all I'm asking you. Because most things that haunt us, we go, oh, that's horrible. And there it sticks. And we don't breathe it out. We go on and we tell the story. Some patient said to me, she was ragging on a politician. And I said, I don't talk to them I don't talk about them that way. They're all doing their work. Just send love. You know, and you can go, I don't want to, they're irritating. You're recognizing the situation, you're with it, you're not trying to change it, but you're sending love. You're not sending another toxic thought. There's enough of that, as Paramahansa Yogananda reminds us. I got 1 minute left and I'm not done. Paramahansa Yogananda reminds us that in the ethers of our world, these ideas of pain and suffering are just floating around, and the world is longing to bring that into balance. And we are a part of that. We are a part of that. So the Tonglen practice for you that I invite you into, to share with me today, knowing that the breath that you breathe is the breath of compassion. The same breath that Buddha discovered when he sat under the tree, the breath of compassion, to breathe in suffering and to breathe out compassion and love and understanding and grace. It's what we do. It's exactly what we do. As I was reading this, I often pondered on this expanded thought. When Jesus was on the cross, he breathed in the suffering. He breathed out, forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. Transformed lives forevermore after that. Tonglen practice. Breathing in the suffering. He was with what was. He could not change it. But he changed the consciousness of lifetimes forevermore. So that's the essence of this practice. To know that as you breathe in, you are allowing yourself to really hold that which you love. So it starts with love. You close your eyes now. You can put your hands on your heart, on your belly, in your lap. But please join me and know that this is being a practice that's just like me, contemplating just like me. You want to be happy. You want to be successful as you look at all people in our world. You want to be happy and successful in your life, work, and relationships, just like me. You want to get to work on time, just like me. Just like me, you want to feel valued and listened to, just like me. Just like me, you want your children, your family, your friends to be safe, nurtured, healthy, have clean water to drink, a great education, opportunities to flourish. Just like me, you yearn to live in harmony and balance. So in this space, as you touch your heart and you begin that breath and you feel the smile upon yourself, the tenderness at the very core of who you are, you hold that sincere wish to benefit yourself and all others. And you repeat the following phrases so gently, so much with loving kindness into the heart space of your body. You start with yourself. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be free from fear and pain. Breathing that in, breathing that out. May I live with love and compassion, and may I awaken and be free. Ourself. Breathing in suffering, breathing out solution and transformation. Embrace now your loved ones. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be free from pain and fear. Oh, my beloved, may you live with love and compassion, and may you fully awaken and be free. Oh, feels good because we're with ourselves, with those we love. Then we go into the world where there are acquaintances, there are neighbors, there are friends. We don't know them very well. They're people we see in the store. We smile upon them. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be free from fear and pain. May you live with love and compassion, and may you fully awaken and be free. Our heart is opening. We can feel it. We're soft. We're warm. And now we have an open heart to embrace those that cause us pain, that cause us suffering, those we do not understand, those that we judge, those that we feel are the faults, are the problems in our world, those that bring us fear, those that hurt other people, those that take small children and teach them ways that aren't kind. Pull them in to the heart space. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be free from fear and pain. May you live with love and compassion. May you, too, fully awaken to your greater potential and be free of any ignorance and confusion that leads you to act in unskillful ways. May you fully awaken and be free. May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings be free from fear and pain. May all beings live with love and compassion. And may all beings fully awake to their true nature, to their true potential, and be free. The Tonglen practice of transformation. A call of your heart, a call for compassion, empathy, truth, sincerity, to align ourselves with the divinity, and to allow all acts in our lives, all moments of suffering, to be transformed, to be felt for what they are, but to move on and to reach out to the hand that is reaching towards us and to make a difference in our world. It is our call. It is our nature. It is who we are. I bless this moment with these words to empower each and every one of you as you move forward in this day and in every day. May you be peaceful. May you be well. May you be happy. And so it is.